been exactly almost 1 year since I moved out, and it took me a really long time to be able to talk about this because it is a very sensitive topic. I wanted to be very sure of what really happened with me and things I wanted to say, things I wish I heard before I left. So here goes nothing. If you want to move out and you're in a toxic environment, these are a few things you need to understand before you even think of the emotional parts of moving out. Are you financially ready to move out? Because there's no point of thinking about the emotional aspect of moving out, like how am I gonna be brave, how am I gonna face my parents, how am I gonna move out, how am I gonna tell them that I'm going to move out, what will they react? All those things mean nothing if you're not financially ready to move out. There's a video I made about how to move out financially, whatever you can do if you're in high school, middle school, how you can plan the exit way before you're even ready or even an adult. You can check that out. Are you even capable of living alone? You need to have a full understanding of who you are, at least the person you are before you move out, because trust me, once you move out, you're a completely new person, but that's a video for another day. Before you move out, you need to understand if you were to live alone, how much money would it take for you to eat your food? How much money would you spend on groceries? How much money would you spend on rent? How much can you pay? All those financial stuff is very important before you move out, not to mention having a strong relationship with yourself. So when you move out, all those things are already in place and now you have space and time for more problems. If you don't even have at least 5% idea of who you are, living alone after being around so many people is going to be very hard. Until you're financially ready, take the time to figure out who you are as a person while you're there, so when you move out, any obstacle comes, you know how to deal with them. Let's focus on the emotional part. How do you prepare yourself to move out? I mean, how do you face your parents? Like, how do you tell them, you know what, you have been treating me like shit all this time and I'm going to walk out? How do you gather the balls? Let me tell you something, you don't. It is scary. I know it comes off as like, oh my gosh, she's so brave, she has done it. But when I was actually going through it, I did not feel strong. I did not feel brave. I felt like a sensitive, scared piece of shit who doesn't know how to stand up for herself, who's trying to stand up for herself, but she doesn't want to hurt her parents, she doesn't want to hurt herself. And the life she's chasing or the life she even wants, she's not sure if it's even worth it because she has not seen anyone done it before. So in my head, I know I need to move out. My mental health is dying, my physical health is falling apart, and there is no way I'm going to let two humans who don't like me destroy the rest of my life just because they are my parents. It is a lot. Not to mention the relatives, the family, what will they think, what will they say? So choosing yourself for brown women, it's not just, oh, I'm choosing myself. It's what will people say, what will relatives say, how will my parents react, how will the neighbors react, how will dog react next door. It's a lot of things, and not to mention how hard life is when you do move out. So am I ready to move out? Am I capable? It takes a lot of confidence, a lot of self-respect, a lot of self-trust to know that, you know what, I'd rather be anywhere but in that goddamn house. At the end of the day, the relatives, the parents, or everyone else you're crying over, they cannot save you. It's you who's gonna suffer every day. It's you who's going to be destroying her fucking life. They're gonna be from the far watching. They can only be like, oh my god, I'm so sorry this is happening to you. They cannot help you or save your life. So they're not worth destroying your life over. And you deserve to know who the fuck you are. You deserve to have your own life before you even give your life to another person. So no, it's important for you to move out. And you know, a lot of people have this misconception that, oh, since I'm moving out, I hate my parents or I hate my family. You don't have to hate your family. Chances are you don't hate anyone. You just don't like the way you're treated and you just know you deserve better. Or you want to move out because you want freedom. There are so many reasons and aspects that go into why you want to move out, but once you know you want to move out, that's it. That's the tunnel vision. That's the only thing you need to focus on. Because let me be real with you. If your parents love you, they'll come around. And if they don't give a they don't give a fuck. The choice you're making is going to be a hard choice, but it's also a choice that brings peace and happiness and freedom that you never had in your entire goddamn life. And it is very much worth it. Even if it means you'll have sleepless nights, even if it means you'll be crying your eyes out, even if it means you'll be scared, even if it means you'll have anxiety attacks every night, all that is worth it. And I can say it confidently because I am here and I am happy. And I do go through my highs and lows, but I know they are better than being in that home. So how do you prepare yourself, right? First things first, logic versus emotion. You want to look at your life logically. not emotionally. Emotionally, they're my parents, they have done so much for me, even if that just means providing a roof and giving you food on your table. But like, this is not the culture, what will... A lot of women reached out to me and they said something like, but what about God? God wants the best for you. He loves you more than your mom ever will. He doesn't want you to suffer. He doesn't want you to be in that house crying every day. He wants you to be happy. And as long as you're not harming anyone, there is no reason why you shouldn't be able to choose yourself. And if it comes to parents, yes, our inner child wants them to be there and wants them to be on board with all our dreams. But if it's realistically, if they're not those people, they're never going to be those people. When I say logic and emotion, I mean putting away your inner child. Your inner child is going to see your parents and your family as this emotional being where you wish you had the love you did not grow up with. That love and that support and all that stuff, no matter what. That's why first step is to put away your emotions and see how your life really is. So for me, logically, they're never going to be okay with me moving out. They'd rather have me married, unhappy, but live alone. Do you see, the second you start seeing yourself logically that if I stay in this house, nothing will change. I will probably have to get married, and even then, once you're married, there are more fucking issues. You're telling me they're gonna be free just because you got married? No. And a lot of times, we end up settling for the good guy because you want freedom so bad. You don't even like the guy. A lot of women end up marrying the good guy or whatever they can find that's just decent. It doesn't matter if you're even in love with him or not. He's just a nice guy and you want to have freedom because you see people on social media live their best lives. So you want to travel and live your best life, and you end up settling for some dusty ass man. The point is that when you really see yourself and where it's gonna end up if you stay in that house, you know what you want. The decision is easy to make. You have to leave. There are a few ways you can go about this, right? First is telling them that you want to move out, see how they react. Maybe you can get them on board, right? Because we want that parent support no matter what happens. You can slowly start telling them that, hey, I want to move out. If you're in a toxic environment, chances are they don't give a fuck about you, they don't give a fuck about what you have to say, they might not even take you seriously. And if they take you seriously, they're gonna treat you like shit. Because how dare you say that? What brown girl moves out? There are two ways to do it. Either you prepare yourself to move out, you have all the plans, your apartment is ready to go, you're gonna pack the night before, and the next day you just walk out, you don't give a fuck, they have been trash to you, you don't give a fuck what they think. That works. But if you're someone as sensitive as I am, if you're someone who you know that you don't like to shock people, you don't like to hurt people, no matter what they do to you, you just cannot live in a world where you know you hurted someone, this is how you're going to do it. You're going to start talking about it way before. You're going to bring it up consistently. Every time you fight with your parents, you will bring up the fact that you were gonna move out. By the time you move out, they're sick of hearing that you wanna move out. And they will see it coming. And at one point, they will take you seriously. I know I have said that my parents never took me seriously. They did. 2 weeks before I left, I could sense that they're taking me seriously, that they see she's actually gonna do it. The reason we bring it up, not just because we want them on board or we want them to see it coming so they don't get hurt, it's so when we move out, we can look back and know that we gave it our all. We even told them we were gonna move out and they still kept treating us like shit. They still didn't take us seriously. There was nothing else to do. I left when I knew there was nothing else I could have done. 2 weeks before, I was still, had hope that things could get better, and I was dying and super scared. What am I doing? What's gonna happen? I was having sleepless nights. But then there was this one day, where I was starting to lose a lot of weight, because when I'm stressed out, I physically cannot get myself to eat, and I wasn't sleeping, and I heard my parents say that she looks like shit, that she's not eating anymore, you can tell. My father watched me. I remember one of those days I ordered food in because I was like, you know what, I need to feed myself. Whether I move out or not, whether it happens or not, it's so weird. Everything was planned and I yet did not believe that I can actually do it. I was so scared if it's actually gonna happen. But 2 weeks before I moved out, I ordered food in. I was like, I need to eat, bro. Like, I cannot die. Whether I move out or not, I'm killing myself right now by being sleep deprived and crying over it. That same morning, I was about to get coffee, and since I worked from home, I didn't really try to look good or whatnot, but that morning I wore jeans and I got myself together because I saw that I'm hurting myself, I'm struggling to choose myself, and I'm crying every day because I didn't think that me moving out would be something like this. I thought, when I was a little kid, that I'm gonna have my own little apartment in New York and I'm gonna move out, and in my head, in that scenario, my parents supported me. But now I'm doing what I've always wanted to do, but the circumstances are so different. I am leaving forever and I'm not going to look back if I ever do make it out alive. So that morning I wake up and I'm like, Fiza, get your shit together. Like, let's wear some jeans, let's wear a shirt, let's go get coffee. The coffee shop is 2 blocks away. The second I wore jeans, my mom looked at me and she lost her shit. Where are you going? Are you going to work? You don't even go to work every day. What's happening? And you know, when you're so frustrated, you have been dying and crying over these people that you don't want to leave. Because who wants to fucking leave and never look back? You know, unless you physically have to, it's very hard to. My mom made such a big deal out of the fact that I wore jeans to get fucking coffee, and I lost my shit. I can't even wear jeans in this house. I think I was starting to stand up for myself for weeks prior, so it was already this big tension that she's saying a lot of things she should not be saying. I was anxious being around them. I stayed in my room all day for months. The most I would do is go to the kitchen, make my food, go back to my room. The same day when I ordered my salad, my dad gave me this big conversation about, you don't know how to talk to your mom. And he said some... Edit that out. I'm gonna cry my eyes out. Shit. That day, my parents said some crazy shit to me, and I remember having an anxiety attack in front of my parents and begging them to not say a word, because when they talk, I get very anxious. When they talk about me, I get very anxious. And I'm looking at my father and I'm like, I'm the worst daughter. I have no idea how to speak. I have no idea how to function. It's all my fault. I'm sorry that I wore jeans in the morning to get myself some coffee. I'm so sorry that I'm hurting you. Can I please eat? For 30 minutes, can you not talk about me so I can eat? Because I have not been eating and you know that as well. Please, let me just eat. My father looked at me like I was crazy. He was sitting there with my mom, talking about me and looking at me like it's nothing. And at that moment, I ended up having an anxiety attack. You know, like full-on anxiety attack, shaking, crying, sweating. And they just watched it. That day when I watched my parents look at me fall apart and not give a damn, I went back in my room that day and I cried my eyes out, right? Because I'm crying every day, I'm anxious as hell, I'm about to do something I never thought I had to. But for some reason, after I got done crying, I knew it's over. There's no fucking way. Suddenly they became two humans who were watching me die and laughing like it's nothing. So am I really crying every day over someone who wouldn't give two shits if I died? Suddenly they became two humans. I went from, oh my god, but they're my parents, oh my god, they brought me in this country. Let's talk about the fact brought me in this country. Yeah, let's get into that next. But I think for me, that day, after I cried my eyes out and after I ate, I knew that it was over, because I'm not about to destroy my life for two people who wouldn't give a fuck. You don't get to destroy your life over two humans who don't give a shit about you. They can say they care about you, but if their actions show otherwise, you have no reason to stay. You owe them absolutely nothing. Your health, your mental health, your life comes first. And if they really brought you in this country for a better life, then they should be happy watching you live a better life. They brought me in this country was a very big thing for me. You know, my father came here and he sacrificed a lot of things, so how can I just walk away and leave? But how do you plan on repaying that? I stayed with that thought for weeks and months prior, like, oh my god, yeah, moving out is easy for white people, but like, my parents brought me in this country, how can I just leave? But then I had to really sit myself down one of those days and I was like, Fiza, yes, they brought you in this country, but all that abuse is not worth it either. Like, how am I repaying that? So just because they brought me in this country as adults, they made that choice, I have to suffer every day and I have to suffer for the rest of my life? I mean, people back home have better lives than I do. I bet you they have more freedom than you do. I mean, how can I repay that? I went to college, I had all the work internships, I was the best daughter I could be, there's nothing more I can do. If repaying is destroying your life for the rest of your fucking life, then that is not repaying. Destroying your life because they brought you here for a better life does not help them or you. If they really brought you here for a better life, live a great life. That's how you make their sacrifice worth it. Not by letting them destroy your life or letting anyone destroy your goddamn life. At the end of the day, it is your life. And the best way to repay the sacrifice is to have a great life, to fulfill your dreams, to live the life you always wanted. Not to let anyone or even them destroy it. Because if they sacrifice their life and you sacrifice your own life, who the hell wins? No one. There are like two sacrifices being made and no one is happy. See, I'm not someone who wanted to deal with her emotions after she moved out. So you can do that. Again, if you're a bad bitch who doesn't give a fuck and she can just move out and deal with her emotions later, do that. But for me personally, as someone who's sensitive, I didn't want to face emotional bullshit when I move out. So I consistently thought of everything I can cry about when I move out, right? I used to have work next morning and I would stay up, not on purpose, I just wouldn't be able to sleep because I'm about to make the hardest decision of my life, and I felt my emotions every goddamn day. Everything that I can cry about when I move out, I thought about it while living there. So I would purposely force myself to think about all the good things I can cry about when I move out, all the things I can feel guilty about, because on social media you see women talk about how much guilt they feel for choosing themselves, and I did not want to be that person. I wanted to make sure that I don't feel any guilt. So I felt my emotions before I moved out. Everything that my mom, my dad, anyone has ever done for me, I thought about it, I cried over it, and guess what? I couldn't find much to cry about. Besides the fact that they brought me here, I couldn't find anything else to cry about. And even then, the little tiny things, the little happy moments, I cried over them. There's consistent back and forth you have with yourself. So like, oh, but I have to choose myself. I cannot destroy my life. But hey, they have done XYZ for me. But hey, I still have to choose myself. The conversation you have with yourself before you move out is going to be like fighting you and your inner child. Fighting between what your inner child wants and what the life really is. But I would highly suggest crying as much as you can, worrying as much as you can, preparing yourself for what could happen as much as you can. You wanna know the craziest part of me crying and dying? Was that every time I brought up the fact that I'm going to move out, not once did my parents say, oh my god, you should stay, you're our daughter. They said shit like, what will people say? Every night, I would go to my bed and she would say something like, you've been saying all these crazy things, Fiza. Think about the people, what will she tell the neighbors? And there were times when my mom was like, okay, we will just tell people that she loves studying, which I do, and she just went to another state. That's it. Like, they were fully sure that they won't give two shits if I move out. So now I'm in my room crying over people who don't care about my health, who don't care about the fact that I'm gonna move out. They're prepared. They're like, if you leave, we'll tell people XYZ. Or there was emotional trauma, like, think about your dad, he brought you here, and the very next second, we don't give a damn. And it was consistently, think about the family, respect. Not once did I hear you should stay. Not once did I hear we want you here, or you're our daughter, or we love you. None of that shit. So yes, and my inner child still fucking kept trying, hoping for something else, and she never got to hear it. And I think that was a good thing, because maybe if I heard it, I'm so sensitive, I would have probably break down and emotionally get manipulated. I felt my emotions all those nights, but when I didn't feel my emotions? The night before I went to sleep. I looked at the clock and I was like, it's time to sleep, because if tomorrow I'm gonna move out, I cannot be sleep deprived. I gaslight myself into thinking tomorrow is the normal day. Because if you tell yourself you're about to take the biggest decision of your life, you won't be able to do it. So I already gave myself months and weeks to cry. That night, we're not gonna think about the fact that we're moving out. We're gonna pretend that we're going to work tomorrow. And that's the same formula I followed the morning of. I woke up and I was like, it's a normal day. I ate my breakfast, I got ready, and I did everything that I do usually, so my brain doesn't think that we're about to do something crazy. It wasn't until the last moment where I was standing in my room, looking at my room for the last time, laying on my bed and like, you're going to move out. That was the only time where I was like, okay, you're going to move out. So you need to understand when to feel your emotions and when not to. Feel your emotions months and weeks before, the night before, don't feel your emotions, pretend it's a normal night, wake up, have a normal morning, a normal thing, and when it's time to walk out, tell your brain, this is not the time to talk to your parents, this is not the time to bring up everything they have done for you. You already screamed your feelings, you already have done the work, you already have tried so hard that at this point you have nothing to do but to walk out. And I was so afraid that my parents will say something and my inner child will start screaming, you have done this to me, you have done that for me, are you really surprised that I'm leaving? I was so scared that I'm gonna start talking, because I think when we are so hurt, we want to be heard so bad that someone just needs to trigger us and we will just start going over the fact that so many bad things have happened to us. That's your inner child screaming and dying to be heard. You gotta be stronger than that. On the day off, there's nothing to explain. If you really followed everything I have said so far, then you would know that you already felt your emotions, you already said everything you could, you already gave it your all, there is nothing else to do, you would be able to walk out. What happened when I actually walked out of that room? We're not gonna talk about it right now. But when I entered that Uber, I thought I would cry and stuff. I did have tears in my eyes, but I'll be honest with you, I felt so light. My shoulders felt light. It felt like the biggest problems of my life were done. Anything that happens from now on will be the easiest thing on the planet. And it was. I have faced a lot of problems, and there's not a single problem I faced that's bigger than that. And the best part about feeling all my emotions before I left and giving it my all before I left was that when I moved out, my brain forgot about them. It didn't want to think about them at all. Like, yeah, I had days where I wondered what's happening with them, I wonder what they're doing, but the person you are when you move out is a completely different person. You start to see things more logically, and you're like, holy shit, I was really crying and dying over these people. You start to see them as normal humans and what they have really done, not as your parents, and you're like, shit, I deserve better. Moving out, I thought I would be guilty, I would fall apart, but when I moved out, I was able to see things as they really are in a bigger picture, from a bigger picture. And I'm like, shit, I should have moved out a long time ago. Why was I crying? But the good thing about crying a lot before you move out is that you're burned out by the time you move out. You don't want to think about them. You gave them so much of your soul and your seconds and your tears that you don't want to give them a single second. And I didn't. For the first few months, I had the time of my life. My brain, you lose memory for some reason. You have a memory loss. And that's why I couldn't make this video, because my brain didn't want to think about what happened on the day off. My brain didn't want to think about what happened with them. I just didn't want to think about it, because I gave them so much of me already. Why should I think about what happened in my past? Well, your past does come back to you as you get settled in your new life. Like for now, it's been a year since I moved out and things are starting to come back to me. It's the only reason I could make this video. But just know that outside is better than the four walls of your home. You'd rather be crying in your own place, peaceful, happy, being able to go out, eat whatever you want, be with whoever you want, live the best life you want, make friends, do you, reach your dreams, than stay in those four walls, crying your eyes out, wondering what happens if you take that step. Fucking jump, you got this. I love you, and I'm gonna be there for you, and I hope you can look at me and see that if I can do it, so can you. You deserve a happy life. The life you're dreaming of is not a movie, it's a real life. You're capable of having it, and if you've just been looking for a sign, then this is your goddamn sign. Choose yourself. It is not as bad as you think it is. It's not as scary as you think it is. It's actually very beautiful.